right, Lions fans, One Pride Nation, how are you all doing? Welcome to this first episode of Lyons Den Weekly. This is something new that we're going to try to do. It is called weekly, but some weeks, especially in the off season, the weeks are going to be slow. So we may or may not be in here, but this is episode one. And really what we're trying to do here is we're trying to look at some Lions headlines for the week. Now we're still going to do our videos here and there. We're going to still do our shorts and all that good stuff. But I thought that towards the end of the week, preferably Friday or Saturday, will be a good time to get in here and talk to you all about everything happening in Lions. So what I'm doing is just give you an idea. I'm just kind of going through different stories that I've seen during the week about the Lions and kind of giving my thoughts on it, getting your thoughts on it. The first story we're going to talk about right now is Myles Garrett. Now, on our channel, I did a video, I don't remember, a week or two ago about Myles Garrett. We all have talked about us wanting to get another pass rusher badly, and the word is out that the Cleveland Browns may be in for a rebuild. And if that's the case, Myles Garrett said at the last game of the 2024 season that he did not want to be part of a rebuild, and he respectfully feels that he's done enough in Cleveland to where he does not have to be a part of that, and that he would like to be traded to a contender. So this is an article from the Detroit Free Press, and I will jump into a little bit of it. The headline says how two former GMs view Detroit Lions potential trade for Myles Garrett and its impact. So let's go down. And it says Bill Polian's gut told him it was the right move, but it wasn't an easy one to make when factoring in the potential costs. To a general manager who had built his organization to perennial title contender through the NFL draft, the thought of parting with a high value pick wasn't exactly palatable. Yet in his eyes, it had to be done. This was the 2006. Excuse me, y'all. Sorry. The year was 2006. Napoleon's team, the Indianapolis Colts, was again in position to win a Super Bowl. In each of the three previous seasons, they lost to the eventual champs in the playoffs, twice falling to the New England Patriots after being knocked out by the Pittsburgh Steelers. Sorry, I thought they would get kind of quicker into what's going on here. We got to the point and we were knocking on the door year after year after year. Okay, so I see that Bill Polian is talking about how they had to make a big move. So let's see what they say. A leaky run defense was the big reason why. As the trade deadline approached, it remained a problem, even though it hadn't yet derailed a team off to an undefeated start. Now, Anthony Booger McFarland had become available. The 6 foot, 300-pound space-eating fire plug was a missing piece the Colts needed. Okay, I'm going to stop right there with this article. We kind of get the gist of what Bill Polian is talking about. So, he's talking about how the team was on the verge of winning the Super Bowl, just like the Lions are right now, and he went out and got that piece. So I'm going to say that that's what I would like to see our boys do. Myles Garrett could be available. Max Crosby could be available. Those are two high-end pass rushers who could go along with Aiden Hutchinson. Now, listen, if you watch the Super Bowl, what did you notice in the Super Bowl? The Philadelphia Eagles were able to do what they did because they were able to rush four. They didn't blitz one time. Not one time did you see a linebacker, a corner, or a safety, come up in blitz. They got pressure on Patrick Mahomes with their front four. And that's what you need to be able to do. You need to be able to drop seven either in pass protection or run support and let the front four get to it. Now, it's one thing that the Philadelphia Eagles have always done. Their general manager and president has always said you can never have enough pass rushers. And I believe that that is a good model to go by. The Lions can't just look at it and say we have one of the best pass rushers in the league right now. I feel Aiden Hutchinson, who's on the screen right here, I feel that he is that, but that can't be enough. You have to go out and get more to show the fans that to take the pressure off of Hutchinson and to put pressure on the quarterback. So you mix that in with solid defensive tackles, and I think it would make for a good pass rush. So that's my thoughts on Myles Garrett, possibly coming into the Lions and being, putting him right there alongside of Aiden Hutchinson. All right, let's move to our next story. Our next story, where are you at? Right there. So the next story that we're going to talk about is the Lions have actually already signed some players. So this article right here I got from Detroit Jock City. Lions have already signed 14 players this offseason. Now, the Lions have been busy so far. this all season, and they have already added some players to the roster. So let's see what we have here, because I'm not actually sure. I remember hearing some of these, but not actually all of it. Some of the article says after suffering a disappointing defeat in the divisional round of the playoffs, the Detroit Lions desperately need to take a step forward this season. I'm gonna scroll down. Things will be even harder for the Lions next season after going through sweeping changes in the all season. Dan Campbell lost both of his coordinators, and even though the roster shouldn't be too different next season, there will almost certainly be an adjustment period. So it's going down, and right here it's talking about, it says the Lions announced that they signed the following 12 players. Okay, let's see who they have. Okay, Jake Fromm. Now, Jake Fromm, this is a decent pickup. Actually, they kept Jake Fromm. This is not a bad guy to have on the practice squad. We see Tom Kennedy is still kicking around. I've always said that Tom Kennedy always finds a way to stay on the roster, but we see that the Lions have signed him, and he is still on the roster. Offensive tackle Jamarco Jones, interior offensive lineman Kingsley Agonkin is still here. Defensive tackle Charles Smith. Now, these are players that were on the Lions 2024 roster, mostly on the practice squad, even though with all the injuries, some of these guys got playing time. Edge Isaac Equal is still around. Linebacker Abraham Buplain, linebacker Deron Gilbert, corner Stanley Thomas Oliver, two safeties, Lauren Strickland, who was on the team, and Eric Hallett, and then wide receiver Ronnie Bell. Now, I saw some Lions fans react to this when the Lions signed Ronnie Bell, which he probably will end up at least starting out on the practice squad. There were quite a bit of Lions fans who were hyped up about that deal. They were happy about that. They thought that was a good pickup, and he could end up being a decent 3 or 4 receiver. So, what is your thoughts on that, Lions fans? What you thought? What are your thoughts so far? So good on the players that we have picked up. That's 14 players. Like I said, probably not guys that are going to make the main team, but it is still quite a ways to go. But it's a start. All right, let's move on to the next story that I saw this week. Let's do this one. Now, as you all know, our Lions have been losing. We have been losing coaches left and right, and we have lost another coach. This time, we lost a coach to the college ranks. Mike Martin leaves for Notre Dame. So let's get into this story that I saw on the Detroit Free Press. It's not just coaches the Detroit Lions are losing after their franchise record 15-win season. Brad Holmes' scouting staff is filling the drain too. Notre Dame is finalizing a deal to hire Lions director of scouting advancement. Excuse me, I said coach, but a scout. Scouting advancement Mike Martin as his new general manager. Many college football programs have adopted the NFL model of using a general manager to identify talent and put the proper dollar figure on acquiring that talent under NIL deals. Now, this is very interesting to me because what's going on here is that when I saw this article, what stood out to me was it said Notre Dame is hiring a general manager. Now, this is something new in college, but I suppose that this is where it's moving to due to the fact that you have these NIL deals, and I'm sure that a lot of colleges are wanting someone to come in and, kind of shift through all of that and kind of, negotiate these deals. And I suppose you would want a general manager in place. The general manager is also probably going to be part of scouting. So we didn't exactly lose a coach, but what we did lose was a scout. So now that is somebody else that Brad Holmes is going to have to bring in. Now, what do you think about that, Lions fans? Do you maybe see that as a big deal, or do you maybe see it as much to do about nothing, that, that's, somebody who can be replaced? Or, do you think that it's just, more that Brad Holmes, is going to have to deal with more people to replace? I mean, they're already replacing coaches left and right. So is this just a par for the course, as they say? Okay, let's move on to what the next story is. What do I have next for you? Okay, what I have next for you is running back coach. All right, we are bringing in a new running back coach. So speaking of coaches that we have lost, the Lions are now bringing in a new running back coach. And according to Prada Detroit, it says that the Detroit Lions are hiring a new running back coach. According to Matt Zenitz of CBS Sports, current Texas running back coach Tashard Choice is expected to join the Detroit Lions coaching staff. At this point, there's no clarity on what that means for the Lions' current assistant head coach / running back coach Scotty Montgomery. Now, this is what it says under the update. Per Justin Rogers, Montgomery is becoming the team's wide receiver coach. Okay, replacing the departed Antoine Randall L., a college receiver himself. Now, I want to skip down to here because I saw something about Gibbs. It says that perhaps the most notable thing about Choice is that he has already coached Lions star running back Jahmyr Gibbs. Choice was the Georgia Tech running back during Gibbs' 2 years there. Back in 2023, Montgomery actually noted how Choice input was a big reason why the Lions opted to draft Gibbs in the first round. And this is what he said. I've got a tremendous amount of respect, not only for both programs Gibbs was at, but mainly the running backs coaches that had him. Tashard Choice and Alabama running back coach Robert Gillespie, Montgomery said, tremendous amount of respect for the way they coach. I know both of those guys. So our Lions are getting a new running back coach, and it is a running back coach that is familiar with Jahmyr Gibbs. So Lions fans, let me get your thoughts on that as well. Do you think that this is a good addition, or do you think, as I always say, it's more much to do about nothing, and he'll just come in and basically pick up where Gibbs left off? All right, let's see what our next story is. Got two more for you, Lions fans. Two more. Let's go right here. Let's go with our star wide receiver, Amon-Ra St. Brown, making some noise. Amon-Ra St. Brown has said that he would like the Lions to be the team that plays the Philadelphia Eagles in the opener. So let's see what Amon-Ra St. Brown has to say. The Detroit Lions might be an appealing, and this is on SI.com. The Detroit Lions might be an appealing team the league decides should travel to Lincoln Financial Field to face the Philadelphia Eagles to kick off 2025. On the latest St. Brown's Brothers podcast, Detroit's talented wide receiver Amon-Ra St. Brown expressed the desire to play the defending Super Bowl champions to kick off the 2025 season. Let's see what Amon-Ra said. The Eagles have the home opener next year because they won the Super Bowl, St. Brown noted. Can I read your list of teams that they could be that could be in that first game? Commanders, Cowboys, Giants, Bears, Lions, Raiders, Rams, Broncos. Out of all those teams, if you're the NFL, who are you putting in there? Both brothers agreed the Lions would be an ideal matchup the league might want to highlight. All right, and then let's see if he said anything else. Down here, St. Brown says, that's what I'm saying. So we might be playing opening night. St. Brown Express. You will see what our healthy defense. You will see what our healthy defense, how that bleep operates. Okay, I agree with that. Now, after it says something about Lee McNeil right here. After Lee McNeil was lost for the season, defense and their ability to stop opponents really struggle. That's true. And listen, I like that. I like Amon-Ra St. Brown, talking that talk. I like Amon-Ra St. Brown, putting it out there saying that, just like we did with the Chiefs a couple years ago, let us go to the defending Super Bowl champions and face them on opening night when we would have a healthy defense. Now, the truth is this: Lee McNeil won't be there and Rigo won't be there, but we will have Aiden Hutchinson. He will be back and he will be full strength. If we bring Carlton Davis back, he'll be out there. And who knows, we could have another solid pass rusher like Myles Garrett or Max Crosby, or we could have a young defensive end that we get in the draft. So Lions fans, what's your thoughts on that? What's your thoughts on Amon-Ra St. Brown saying that, he wants the Lions to be the opening team that the Philadelphia Eagles has to play. We didn't get them in the NFC Championship game, but we could get them opening night and show them what it looks like to have to face us with a healthy defense. Matter of fact, to let the league see what it's like to face us with a healthy defense. All right, and then I'm going to move on to our last story. Now, my son and I, as we did last year, we will definitely do our mock draft soon. But I was looking, scrolling through some things, and I see that also on SI.com, they have a pre-combine draft. So let's look at this list and see what they have. I think that, they did all 7 rounds of mock for the Lions, and let's see what they have the Lions doing. All right, so we're going to scroll through this. So I don't have to read all of that, blah, 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 blah. They're talking about the Lions with the 28th pick, but let's see who they have. So they have the Lions in the first round taking Nick Scorton, the defensive end or edge rusher from Texas A&M. What they said about him is this: in a draft class loaded with talent on the edge, several of the top options could be off the board by the time the Lions' first round pick rolls around. Scorton is an intriguing option, and he's a big body option at 6'4" and 280 pounds. I do like that. So this is who they have the Lions taking. They have them taking the edge with their first round pick. with the second round pick, and I do like this pick, and I like this player. They had the Lions taking Deion Walker. Deion Walker is 6'7", 340 pounds. And and let me tell you something. That big kid can move and he can get in the backfield. So they have the Lions taking him in the second round. I like the idea of the Lions going with them having the Lions going edge, defensive end and defensive tackle with their first two picks. With the third pick, this is projected compensatory pick for Aaron Glenn. They have the Lions taking a wide receiver, Trey Harris out of Ole Miss. It says the Lions struck gold in finding veteran Tim Patrick as their third wide receiver for the 2024 season, and now must make a decision on whether or not to bring him back. Even if they do, the team can still benefit from adding young depth at the position. Now, I am in favor of that. I have been telling my son that I absolutely would love to see the Lions. Excuse me. I would absolutely love to see the Lions bring in another young wide receiver. Okay, with the fourth round pick, they had a line. This is another. I like this. This is another pick. Mello Dotson, cornerback out of Kansas. This is a good corner. Let's see what they have to say about him. Dotson is a ball hawking corner who recorded 12 interceptions over 5 seasons with the Jayhawks, including 9 over the last 2 seasons. He returned 4 of those interceptions for touchdowns, a sign that he's an all-around playmaker. Now, I do know this kid, and I do like this kid. If they can get somebody like that in the 4th round, that would be nice. In the 6th round, they have the Lions taking Ernest Green, an offensive tackle out of Georgia. It says Green is an impressive athlete who still needs to develop the more minute details of playing his position. It says he allowed 2 sacks according to Pro Football Focus and earned 53.0 run blocking grade. Now, this is what it says. Detroit has some young depth options up front, such as 2024 draft picks Christian Mahogany and Gio Manu. Now, Gio Manu is still a work in progress, but according to PFF, Christian Mahogany could slide right into one of those starting spots as a guard. It also says that Corby Sorsdale is also in the mix, and adding another young piece to compete for reps will be beneficial as Detroit looks to stock up behind its talented line. Now, I do believe that the Lions need to stock up on the offensive line. That's one of our deepest positions, and we have a lot of young talent backing up. And let's see, 7. I don't know if it's 1 or 2. It's 2. So yes. So they have the Lions with 2 7th-round picks. With the first one, they have the Lions taking Willie Lampkin, an interior offensive lineman from North Carolina. Now, what I do know about Lampkin is that he's short. I want to say, man, he's like 5'11". He's a short interior lineman. But let's see what they say about him. It says that after beginning his collegiate career at Coastal Carolina, Lampkin transferred to play for the Tar Heels for his final 2 seasons. His last was his best as he set career best marks in overall offensive grade. And they talk about what PFF had to say. It says Detroit's interior offensive line could face a shakeup if Kevin Zeitler departs. And though Mahogany appears ready to step in, the Lions could also upgrade with young competition. Lampkin is an experienced option who could wind up being a nice depth option, and I would agree with that. And then with their last pick, they had the Lions taking Sean Dolak, a linebacker out of Buffalo. Him, I'm not really familiar with, but let's see what they say about him. It says that for the final pick in this mock draft, the Lions add a pure football player, Dolak, for an incredible. Dolak was incredibly productive for the Bulls, notching 391 tackles over 5 seasons. An injury in 2023 limited his production, but he surprised 145 total tackles in both 2022 and 2024. He had a whopping 19 tackles for a loss last season. It says that Dolak is also solid in coverage with 5 interceptions in 2024. The Lions have a solid core of linebackers already on the roster, but the group was hampered by injuries throughout the season. And I 100% agree with that. Derek Barnes went down. Rodriguez went down. So getting a linebacker as a depth piece would be nice. All right, Lions fans, there you are. That is our first episode of Lyons Weekly. I hope that you all enjoyed this. If you haven't already, let me get our stuff up on the screen so you can see it. There's our TikTok. My son does, I always say most, but he does all the TikToking over there. If you haven't already, go over there and give us a follow as well. Right there, scrolling the bottom of the screen is our Twitter/X page. If you haven't already, go over there and give us a follow. And you are watching this right here on YouTube. So if you haven't already, like, comment, and subscribe. That's all for this episode. Until next time, Lions fans and One Pride Nation, peace.